What is up, guys? Sonduren Fanarredha here. Today, I'm going to be giving you my top 5 tips on how to properly clean your black car. Now, you've made the decision to buy another black car, or this is your first black car, and you've made a good decision and a bad one. Every time I come to buy a new car, I'm like, I'm not gonna get black this time because it's such a pain to keep a black car clean. If you're a black car owner, you know this. That's probably why you're watching this video, or you're considering getting a black car and you're watching this video. Well, let me tell you that it is a pain. It is gonna be like having another girlfriend that's nagging you all the time for every little thing. No matter how much you give to her, she's gonna want more all the time, no matter what you do. But the reason why you put up with it is because the black cars look so good all the time. At that peak moment, at dusk, the sun is coming down. Is there a better look of a car when it's black? I don't think so. I think of all the cars, you know, there's nice dark blues, nice reds. They all look great, especially at dusk. But a black car, when it's clean and perfect, it's just beautiful. And that's why you buy a black car. That's why my Audi R8, it's in black. No matter how much I hate it, quote unquote, I love it. And today I'm gonna give you my top 5 tips on how to keep it beautiful, how to keep it clean, how to keep it swirl and scratch free. Because any black car you get, if you're not taking care of it, it's actually gonna look really bad and really bad. It's not gonna look the way you want it, and it's always gonna drive you crazy. So these are the top 5 tips I have for you to make sure your black car is gonna maintain and it's gonna be looking crystal clear. Tip number 1, when you buy a black car, let's say it's your first purchase, it could be an old car, like my 2008 Audi R8. When I bought it, it was in really, really bad shape. One of the first things you're gonna need to do is give it a full wash, a full clay bar to get all of the gunk off of the paint and the clear coat. Then you're gonna do a full paint correction on the car. So when you do this, you're getting rid of all the embedded contaminants on the clear coat. Then you're compounding the finish to remove all those deep scratches and swirls. You're polishing the finish, so you're making sure that no swirls and scratches remain. And then you're gonna be adding a sealant or some other form of protection. But this first tip is around making sure that when you start with a black car, whether it's new or used, that you start with a fresh, clean canvas. I have a video, I'll link it up in the description box down below, of how you properly compound, polish, and detail your car. This is very important. To start with a black car, you need to start with a perfect clean slate of the clear coat and the paint. So you make sure you clay bar it, you compound it, and you polish it. Tip number 2, when you have a black car, a sealant, a wax, or a ceramic coating is honestly a must at some point. To keep a black car clean, it's very difficult. To keep any car clean, it's difficult, but a black car especially is difficult. So if you have a clean slate, the car's paint is in perfect condition, you wanna make sure you're protecting it and keeping it like that for as long as possible. One of the things that you wanna make sure you do when you wash the black car, or any car, especially a black car, you wanna make sure when you wash it, it's taking as little effort as possible to wash the car. You wanna make sure there's as little contact to the paint as possible with a mitt or a pressure washer or anything else. The best way to best augment and stop dirt and other grime and dust and bird droppings on sticking on the paint is a ceramic coating, a wax, or a sealant. You saw in my 2008 Audi R8, as soon as I polished the car, got it to that perfect paint condition, I went ahead and I put an Optimum Gloss Coat ceramic on it. That ceramic coating, I'm gonna be doing another video this year, 3 years running. So far, it's in great condition. There's no need for me to go ahead and re-wax, reapply a sealant. It is still on the car, and what is this gonna do for me? It's gonna protect against bird droppings. It's gonna make the car easier to wash. It's gonna protect against minor swirling and scratching. I'm not gonna say that you're not gonna have minor swirling and scratching after a while. Even after 3 years, and I'm very diligent, you'll have minor swirls and scratches, just a little places here and there. That's expected, but it's gonna help you a little bit in stopping that. And that's really important, and it's gonna make the black car for yours easier to clean. So the step 2 here, the tip number 2, is making sure you put a layer of protection on the paint after it's been properly polished, compounded, and corrected. Tip number 3, this is a very important tip because you're touching your car every time you wash it. So every time you touch it, you wanna make sure you're taking and reducing the chances of instilling swirls and scratches on the paint. The best way to do this, and I've talked to you guys about this before, is having a 2-bucket method using a proper wash mitt when you're washing your car. I've talked about this in the video on how to properly wash your car. I'll link that in the card above. But essentially for my R8, I got 2 buckets. In those 2 buckets, I have 2 grit guards. What those grit guards are gonna do is when you bring in your mitt into your wash bucket, you take up all that soap, you rinse one panel, you're gonna bring it into your other bucket with a grit guard, but that's just clear water, no soap. You put in your mitt in there, and you're scrubbing at your mitt at the bottom of the grit guard. All the contaminants, all the dirt that you might be getting on from the car, after you've rinsed it, of course, is all gonna fall down to the bottom of the bucket. That way, when you're rinsing each panel, you're not gonna have a chance of that dirt coming back on your mitt and instilling swirls and scratches on the car. Now, believe it or not, very small particulate matter that may be stuck in the microfibers inside of your mitt, those are what cause the swirls and scratches on your car. It's that daily or weekly maintenance that you're doing on your car that's actually instilling the scratches. So, when you're thinking about washing the car, make sure that you're using a 2 bucket method to wash the car and you start from the top to bottom. I talk about all the different things that you can do to make sure that you're reducing the possible chance of getting any kind of contaminants on the mitt and instilling swirls back in your car, from foam cannons to, pressure washers, etc. All those things help, mitigate the risk against those scratches and swirls being put on your paint. Tip number 4, besides the washes that you do maybe every 2 weeks, every week, depending on your, maintenance schedule, you have probably a spray wax or a detailer with a microfiber. One of the things that I've noticed especially, and this is common practice, when you're trying to buff off a little area, maybe there's a little dirt or something there, don't do it with just a bare cloth, like a microfiber. You wanna add some lubricant in the mix. So either it's a spray wax or a spray detailer or something. You wanna make sure you have some lubricant between the dirt that you're wiping off and your microfiber. And make sure that when you're wiping it, you're taking that microfiber off, folding it, wiping it again, using the lubricant. This sounds like it's pretty crazy, but for a black car, even those things that you do where you're taking that dirt off the paint and you're rubbing against it, that can cause the swirls and scratches that mar the finish of your paint. So you wanna make sure that you take caution and use lubricants to kind of help you clear that out. Honestly, for me, if I see, a bunch of dirt here, it's not necessarily bird droppings or something, I won't even go ahead with the quick detailer and rub it off if it's nothing major. Obviously, if it's a big bird dropping, I have to take that off right away because it's acidic and it could etch your clear coat, which you don't want. But for anything minor, I actually leave it and I say, hey, I'm gonna wash the car in 2-3 days. I am not gonna bother touching it because I know I'm gonna go ahead, rinse it with a pressure washer, I'm gonna foam cannon it, and I'm gonna use a proper 2 bucket method to clean it later. That's gonna reduce the chances of swirls or scratches on the black car. So make sure when you're doing touch-up spot checks on your car with a microfiber towel, use a lubricant when you're doing it. It's gonna reduce the possibility of scratches on the paint significantly. Finally, tip number 5, this is an important tip when you're washing a black car. For me, my water here is kind of actually hard, so there's some minerals in there. One of the biggest things I see people do is that they're washing their black car outside in the sun and it's scorching hot. Now, I realize that a lot of people may not have options to wash their car in a shaded environment. But if you do, 100% of the time, you wanna make sure you're washing your car in a shaded environment because, especially on a black car, when you're rinsing it and you're washing it and the sun is going ahead and pounding on your paint with all the water droplets, you're gonna get the water marks all over your car. And those are a pain to get off. Sometimes they can be so difficult that you may have to even polish those etches off. So this is a very common tip, very important tip when you're washing your car, do it in the shade. Not only is this best practice for your paint, but if you got really delicate rims and you're using acidic wheel cleaners, doing it in the shade is actually recommended for the most part on some wheel cleaners. So make sure when you're washing your black car, you're doing it in the shade. That way, when you do wash it, you're gonna come out really happy with the results. You're not gonna see any weird watermarks all over the car, on the glass or anything else. I hope this video helped you guys. I've had a lot of experience with this from my 2011 Mustang GT, my E46 BMW M3, and my 2008 Audi R8, all black cars. And you know what? I've had 7-8 years of experience professionally detailing cars, and all these things have kind of taught me, instead of making it frustrating like I talked to you guys about earlier, this girlfriend that keeps wanting more and more and you're just pouring your heart and soul to making it look perfect. These tips have allowed me to go ahead and say, you know what? It's making maintaining this black car super easy now. Now that I have these understandings or these tips of how I actually take care of my car, it's really easy for me to go ahead and just maintain it properly, and I'm getting much greater life out of the results of my detailing efforts from doing this. So I really hope this helped you guys out. If you're considering a black car, My recommendation is if you have the time, this is your hobby and you love your car, get a black car. If it's not necessarily something that you can invest the time in, but you still want your car, looking beautiful, there's other beautiful colors out there. Dare I say, they don't look as good in black at that perfect time at dusk. During sunset, you look at your car and you're just like blown away and you're just in love with it. And every time I see my car at those moments, I'm like, all of it is worth it. So I hope you guys like this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to the channel. Lots of cool detailing videos coming out in the future. You guys know I'm always doing stuff. If you love car detailing, you love cars, you love motorcycles, subscribe to the channel. That's all what this channel is really about. So thank you guys so much. If you have any more questions about black car maintenance specifically, let me know in the comment box down below. Again, I think what you're gonna find is that you'll gravitate towards a black car if you really love the car that you're about to buy. And if you're an enthusiast, you're probably on this channel, you're probably really interested in cars and detailing, you're probably gonna go there. And the other cool thing about a black car that's actually underrated, I talk about these top 5 tips, is that for your detailing efforts, no car color shows the impact of your detailing as much as black car does. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Make sure you leave any questions around detailing your black car in the comment box down below. I'll respond to everybody that does. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.